coming on the air with breaking news. A CDC advisory panel just voted to restrict COVID-19 shots for all Americans. The committee instead advising individual decision-making. The panel, including a dozen vaccine skeptical advisors handpicked by Health Secretary RFK Jr., already made its first change yesterday, voting to separate the vaccines that fight measles, mumps, and rubella and the virus that causes chickenpox. None of these decisions will be finalized, though, until the acting CDC director or RFK Jr. signs off. But top medical organizations are already urging parents to ignore any advice coming from the panel. For more, let's get right to our medical correspondent, Dr. Darian Sutton, along with senior White House correspondent Selena Wang. All right, Dr. Sutton, let's talk about, what this means, your reaction as a doctor. Let's talk about the decision that was just made.
My reaction as a physician, the accessibility to COVID-19 vaccines, it seems as though it remains. So the CDC Vaccine Advisory Committee has voted to has voted to unanimously allow those who want to get a vaccine based off of individual preference. A key point here, Kira, is the discussion on whether or not a prescription was needed. Now, it was discussed at length during this advisory committee meeting on the risk of requiring a prescription, because as many of us know, getting a prescription adds another barrier to access. There were some who were for prescription, but it seems as though it came out at the end of it that understanding that adding a prescription would create a barrier to access, and so the vote was done, and now there is not a prescription that is required to get a COVID-19 vaccine. So essentially, a person can walk into a pharmacy, as 90% of those who got vaccinated with COVID have done in past seasons, and get vaccinated without a prescription. But they do emphasize on discussing the risks and benefits of COVID-19 vaccines, which essentially is what has been done in history. I think that they're trying to make sure that those providers who are providing these vaccinations have a more discreet conversation in terms of the actual risk and benefit based off of the individual. But again, this is something that is constantly discussed with patients. I do it in the emergency room, and pharmacists do it every day with patients.
All right, so let me ask you a question, though, Doc. If the CDC advisory panel, vaccine advisory panel, voted to abandon its recommendation for the COVID-19 and is saying it's a personal choice, we're not recommending it, it's a personal choice, does that mean, since it's not recommended, that patients will have to pay out of pocket for this?
And that is still the crucial part that is still we're waiting to fully understand that. Now, that might come down to a state-level decision in terms of the access based off of insurance coverage. Also, what type of insurance do you have, whether that be a private insurer, Medicaid, Medicare, or otherwise. That is something that is yet to be fully determined. And yes, if that does come down to, unfortunately, compromising insurance, then that creates another barrier to access. So we'll be closely monitoring this to make sure and understand and have full awareness over whether or not insurance providers will cover COVID-19 vaccines. Now, we've seen throughout this discussion in the past week as well that insurance providers have already stepped up and stated we're going to cover the COVID-19 vaccine, but that might not be the same for each person, and it might depend on their state. These details are yet to be fully determined.
Got it. All right. So, Selena, any word from the White House?
No word from the White House, yes, but throughout all of this controversy around RFK Jr.'s efforts to overhaul our nation's vaccine policy, President Trump has maintained his support and backing of Kennedy. In fact, I had asked President Trump recently after Kennedy had testified on Capitol Hill, asking him if he still had confidence in Kennedy given all of the pushback we're seeing, in fact, bipartisan pushback to what he's doing. And the president told me that he likes the fact that Kennedy is different and brings different ideas to the table. But what's also interesting is that
Shalom, Israel. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahawah, SHAMAIWAN, double honors to the elders of the apostles, great millstone. Shalom to my YAHAWAH, who are diligently waiting to be delivered from this small captivity, as well as a speckled bird that may look like the other nations, but actually YAHAWAH. This is Brother Kawakak and Yeshua with no lesson. And I kind of want to play this again because this is actually kind of like this is a slap in the face. And when I first heard, I saw this. This is my third time watching this video, and I still feel like I did not hear this properly, or even then, I'm not reading this properly. That's genuinely what I feel. And That's genuinely how I feel right now, because this was such a big issue way back when, and then now it's just like, oh well, who cares? Like, oh, we're just gonna drop it now. Like, after all the shit that people were getting, now it's just like that's it. And the YAHAWAH, I remembered not to say the actual name of it because I don't want this video getting taken down, but it's like, let me just watch it one more for the fourth time. Let's listen.
Have the committee, has voted to unanimously allow those who want to get a vaccine based off of individual preference. A key point here, Kira, is the discussion on whether or not a prescription was needed. Now, it was discussed at length during this advisory committee meeting on the risk of requiring a prescription, because as many of us know, getting a prescription adds another barrier to access. There were some who were for prescription, but it seems as though it came out at the end of it that understanding that adding a prescription would create a barrier to access, and so the vote was done, and now there is not a prescription that is required to get a COVID-19 vaccine. So essentially, a person can walk into a pharmacy, as 90% of those who got vaccinated with COVID have done in past seasons, and get vaccinated without a prescription. But they do emphasize on discussing the risks and benefits of COVID-19 vaccines, which essentially is what has been done in history. I think that they're trying to make sure that those providers who are providing these vaccinations have a more discreet conversation in terms of the actual risk and benefit based off of the individual. But again, this is something that is...
What this means, your reaction as a doctor, with senior White House correspondent Selena Wang.
Alright, so basically, the main thing is the quote-unquote recommendation, alright? Now, or it's like before, it was, you have to get it. You have to get it. You can just go in and get it immediately, all this stuff like that. But now, and Slocky, that was the thing where there's no barrier to getting it, alright? Which, that is the stuff that they're, like, oh my god, Slocky, this is just the type of ridiculousness that genuinely pisses me off, because when has something good been free? Like, that's the thing that just actually gets to me. Like, you, Slucky, I'm genuinely like pissed off, because like, this is the type of stuff that angers me, and I'm not even, whatever. It's free. You could literally just go in the thing. You don't need a prescription. You just need to go, oh yeah, I want to go get my thing. Let me go do this. Let me go do that, X, Y, and Z. Oh, it's easy. It's that simple. Alright? But now, it's just like, okay, well, now it's not required. It's not needed. This, that, and third, and whatnot. It's like, well, what was that? What was all of those complaining? What was all those, saying, oh, you have to go get it. You guys are a threat to society, X, Y, and Z, and stuff like that. Like, it genuinely pisses me off. So, again, this is the thing that is the major issue, where you have these people that are just following after, or let me correct myself, blindly following after whatever Esau tells them to do. All right, taking up after Babylonian doctrine rather than sound doctrine. Psalms 62 verse 10: trust not in oppression, and become not vain in robbery. If riches increase, set not thy your heart upon them. And that's basically the thing where people are. First things first, trusting in oppression. Okay, they trust in whatever Esau says. Esau says this is good for you, and then they're saying, and then our people, or everyone, for that matter, just say, oh yeah, we're just going to do it. We're going to do it and whatnot. So many people just agree with it. So many people are, with that. All right, and it's just like they don't care about the common sense. They don't care about the things that go along with it. The side effects. What's the other thing called? The repercussions. All right, to doing it. All right, but they just trust and say, oh, these people weighed the options for us and they chose it. But okay, well, what if the options was to get rid of you? Then what? All right, what if they were intentionally leading you into a snare? all right? And then you fell into the snare, but you know when we warned you not to do it, okay? Which because I know someone that was warned by a brother that I know, and they still did it. They didn't care. He literally said, "Hey, I'm telling you, do not do that. Do not go get that stuff." And he said, "Oh yeah, sure, fine. Yeah, I won't go get it." And then lo and behold, the dude went and did it, and then fucking announced it online. He announced it online, even though the brother said, "Do not get it. I'm telling you, do not do it." And then the other dude, he went and did it anyway, and then announced it online. And this dude, the brother said, to me, "This nigga is so stupid. I just told him not to do it." But anyway, obviously, that was funny. I just thought that was funny. So yeah, I just thought that was funny. And uh, another thing that goes into it is that whole desire, that need for money. Okay, riches. All right, it's this is a part of that. This is the part of the reason why I say that the that is that thing. You know what it is rehearsal for the MOTB, because the people the while it didn't stop people from buying or selling. It was basically a part of it, because people were saying that, okay, well, if you don't do this, you're gonna lose your job, and if you don't have a job, you don't have money, you don't have this and third, you can't live in society and whatnot. And that's the thing where, in order to in order to properly continue in society, you have to take this, you have to partake, you have to just obey, which that's where that trust and oppression and riches, that desire for riches corrupts your mind. All right. So yeah, that was a very, very big thing, which it's why, like, that was one. If you took it, then that goes to show that you are more than likely going to. I'm not saying definitively, but you're more than likely going to take the MOTB. Whereas if you didn't take it, that's a good indicator, but not necessarily definitive, but a good indicator that you're gonna have faith in Yahawadah, you're not going to take the MOTB, Yahawadah, not definitively. But Isaiah 30 verse 12, wherefore thus saith the Holy One of Israel, because you despise this word and trust in oppression and perverseness and stay thereon, therefore this iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking cometh suddenly and instant. Okay, basically, that trust in perversion, in oppression, that's going to be the thing that's going to fall under your feet, where you're going to just lose. You're just going to lose everything, like and by lose everything, I mean like lose the carnal aspect of it, and then you're not going to have anything spiritual. You're just going to be left with nothing carnally or spiritually. All right, because you didn't choose and trust in Yahawadah. All right. Psalms 118 verse 8, it's better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man. And this is the thing where people have too much confidence in Esau Edom, and by extension man. So as a result of that, they are being led astray. They're being led to their destruction, led to, you thought that it was okay to do this, well, now you're seeing the repercussions and the negative benefits from it long term, where, oh well, you did all this, you might not have wanted to get the what, but you did it anyway in order to keep your job. And then now you're seeing that the people that chose not to get it, they are getting rewarded, not necessarily rewarded, but they are still good, they're still doing fine. But you're like, well, what the hell is this? Why are you taking away the prerequisites when you guys forced me to go and do it, not 4 years ago, 5 years ago? I don't know why I was about to say 6, but basically, yeah. Like, why are you guys not continuing to enforce that? Why is everyone else doing this stuff and whatnot? All right, where that might seem unfair, but that's your fault, because you didn't trust when the Lord told you, hey, through his prophets, through whatever. Okay, because it was not just the prophet; it was a lot of other people, Edomites as well, that were saying, don't not to get. I don't know if they were saying. If I know that they were. I don't know if they were saying not to get it, but I'm pretty sure they were just not getting it themselves. So yeah, like, you had a bunch of different signs that was telling you not to get it. All right. Proverbs 25 verse 19. Confidence in an unfaithful man in time of trouble is like a broken tooth and a foot out of joint. Basically, that is, it's unstable, it's unreliable. Okay, you're not gonna get anything. You're not gonna have any, what's the word, mileage, I guess if you want to use that term, out of someone that's unreliable. All right. Now, Psalms 37, verse 40, and the Lord shall help them and deliver them. He shall deliver them from the wicked and save them because they trust in Him. Because we trust in the Lord, YAHAWAH, we don't have to worry about the judgments. We don't have to worry about all those issues and problems and stuff like that, because the Lord is going to make it so that everything is all right, everything's good, everything's proper for us, even when we are required to do X, Y, and Z carnally, but the Lord's going to make it so that we're going to be able to maneuver through it. Okay, that is not going to be an issue for us specifically because we fall after Yahawadah. Psalms 37 in the same chapter, verse 24. Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down. Was it 37? Anyway, no, it was 27. Though he Psalms 37, verse 24, though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand. Basically, the Lord makes it so that we are incapable of falling. So there was that time when people were losing their jobs, people were unable to partake and do stuff in society. Because I remember, if you have to show X, Y, and Z in order to be able to eat in certain places, you have to show X, Y, Z in order to come over here, do this, then third, or continue to have your job and whatnot. So as a result of that, the Lord made it so that we're protected. Even though it's looking bad, we're still good. All right, call on LAWAYA. Okay, without all in righteousness, by the way. So yeah, continuing on, Sirach 2, verse 10, great way to end it. Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded, or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken, or whom did he despise that called upon him? So the Lord makes it so that if you trust in him, you're never gonna be disappointed. The Lord's gonna take care of you. All right. Call on Yahawadah. So with that, I pray this lesson was edifying. I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahawadah, Yahawadah, Baruch with us, double honors to the elders and apostles, obey most on the Bible and Shalom.